I wanted to speak on a common sense situation here, and it's not to make light or make fun of this situation. This is a common everyday situation, and I'm speaking from the standpoint of something that happened to me in the past that I had to learn a lesson from. And if you are going through this, you do have my sympathies, and I pray that you don't have to go through this again. But I just want to address a couple of behaviors of people that are going through it. So, just use a little wisdom in regards to what I have to say. And this is in regards to evictions. Now, you all know that we are living in a very unstable economy right now, and unfortunately, there are a lot of people that are going through evictions. Now, there are some people that are going through it because they are just simply behind financially. And there are two groups of people that are going through this. One group of people are the people that are simply gotten behind financially because of two situations. Number one, because of funding that hadn't come through, and they got behind because they're underpaid, they're overworked and underpaid, and they just simply just couldn't keep up with the bill. And unfortunately, they can't stay where they're staying anymore. Those are the people that are truly suffering, and they're no longer under the eviction moratorium, and they have to leave. These are the people that unfortunately have to suffer through it. I've been through that situation, and fortunately, I was able to get some help, and I didn't have to go through the process. So, I was saved by the bell, so to speak. So, but I am aware of situations where, you had to wait for some kind of program or some kind of relief or something like that. And because it took so long, I had to go get help from elsewhere, from private sources, and to try to help me in the meantime in order to avoid being put out. But there have been some situations where people got put out because they didn't have anybody to turn to. I was fortunate enough to be associated with private sources where I could have people to turn to. Some people didn't, and they had to go. That's the first group of people. But I want to talk about the second group of people. Second group of people are people who basically took advantage of the system. They were problems before assistance programs, and once the assistance programs came along, they basically took advantage of an already bad situation. And they have these videos online sometimes where they have the people show the videos of evictions. And some people think that it's wrong to show these videos, but I think these videos are very educational from the standpoint of the process servers and the eviction teams, because they need to let people know what the process is and the behaviors of some of these people. And one thing that I saw the other day is I saw where a process server served a gentleman the other day, and he basically served him. He went there with the team on the day that he was supposed to evict, and he had already, showed the process as to how he went there. And I think in this particular state, because every state is different, he went there 3 times to try to serve the notice. I think he went there twice, and there was no answer. And then the third time, he posted a notice on the door. Then after the third time, sometimes later, I guess he got the notification from the court, and he had brought his team with him to come pick people out. And he kept knocking on the door, and of course, the person didn't come to the door. And they had to wind up busting the lock off the door and coming in the house. And then he kept announcing himself, and then they made themselves halfway through the house, almost to the bedroom, and all of a sudden the gentleman come out the bedroom and he said something. First reaction was, oh, well, I didn't know what's going on, all of a sudden looking all, concerned, like, oh, I don't understand what's going on, Nobody gave me a notice. Nobody said anything. I don't know anything. So basically, the whole premise of the whole video is that this gentleman didn't know anything. I notice in a lot of these cases with these videos, it's like the people that don't care, that play these games, there are two things that I noticed. Number one, when they come to evict, the person there, they always say the same thing. I don't know anything. Nobody ever gave me a notice, which is a lie. And number two, the house is always a hot mess. These are always decent houses. They're not mansions, but they're always decent houses. The rent is never astronomically expensive. And the person who is there, which is usually more than one able-bodied adult who lives there, owes several months' rent, and they act like they don't know anything. So as they go through the whole, conversation, the first thing they want to do is they want to pick up the phone and try to call somebody who's not there, claim that throws that person under the bus as to, oh, I didn't know anything, the other person's handled it. They'll try to throw the other person who's not there under the bus as the person who handles everything. Just stalling tactics. So one of the stalling tactics is well, I need to call so-and-so. Now, mind you, the process server, once they come to your house, this is the thing. Once the sheriff or process server, depending on what state that you're in, once they have notified you that you've got to be out by a certain date and time, that you've got to be out after they've served you, after you've been to court, after this, that, and the other, once they've given you a date and time to evict, you've got up until that date and time to pay up on your rent. If you paid up before that date and time, your landlord or your whoever owned the house or whatever, they have the option of canceling the eviction up until that date and time. You have a chance. You have a chance. So the day that they come and they bring the people or whoever it is they come to bring to put you out or whatever the case may be, you have a choice. You can either leave before they come, which in a lot of cases when, a lot of people will be gone by then. But some people will stay, which I don't understand why you don't stay. Why you stay. If you don't have the money, the best bet is just to leave before they come. What do you expect to accomplish by talking to people who are paid by the landlord or the agency or what? They can't do anything to help you. Their job is to come and perform a job. They're supposed to come and remove stuff out of the house. They can't take any payment. They can't call on their behalf. They can't do anything. So the calling and the crying and the antics and everything is falling on deaf ears. You're wasting your time. Those people can't do anything. It's not their job. It's not their capacity. They're being paid by whatever agency or person that owns that property is to come and remove the contents out of the property. That's all they're supposed to do. It's not their job. It's not who you need to contact is the people that own the place. So I say this to say this. If you're ever in a situation like that, and God forbid if you ever let it get to that point where you're supposed to be out of a unit by a certain date and time and you do not have the money, be out. Just be out. Leave before that date and time. Do not stay there if you are not going to have that money paid by that date, because there's nothing that's going to be done that's going to let you stay past that date and time. It's not going to happen. After that particular date and time, you are considered trespassing and you are subject to arrest. You can be arrested and you can be taken downtown and placed in jail. That property is no longer yours. And arguing with the people that are involved in that type of thing, you can rack up a criminal charge. So if you're not going to have the money by the time that's on that date that you're supposed to leave, then leave before then. Make arrangements to live with somebody. Have your stuff put in storage. Go to a storage. Just be out. Just leave. Because staying there and being there when they come there and going through all these antics and everything while they're trying to move your stuff out and you not leaving the premises, it's not going to do you any good. You're considered a trespasser and you could be taken to jail. And all the antics is not going to do any good. And for goodness sake, please don't lie and say that, oh, you can't get the other person on the phone because their job does not accept cell phones. Every single job, I know that they have restrictions in regards to using your cell phone at work. Mine does. But every single place of employment has a general office number. Okay? You can call the general office number. Let whoever it is that answers the phone, the receptionist or whatever, and say, I have an emergency message for such and such employee. That receptionist will let the supervisor know. The supervisor will let the person who is in charge of whoever that employee know that there's an emergency so they can call back. That's bullshit. You guys know that. That's another stalling tactic. Don't embarrass yourself by being there if you have not resolved everything with the landlord. Okay? And if you have not heard from the landlord or the entity before that date that it is okay for you to stay in those premises, even if you've paid, if you have not heard from the landlord or the entity, if you have paid everything up and received notification in writing that you are paid to date, before that date, leave anyway. Because just because you're paid to date does not mean they still want you there. You might be paid to date, but they might still want the premises back. This especially applies to private landlords. It could be a situation where they want the property back because they could have had other issues with you as a tenant. It might not be a money issue. It could be a situation where you violated the lease by letting other people stay there. It could have been some other issues like neighbor complaints or something like that. But the bottom line is this. If you're supposed to be out there by a certain date and you do not have the money to stay, leave before that date. The process servers, the movers are not going to stop doing what they need to do. And I'm saying this to spare you any embarrassment, to spare you any humiliation, to spare you a trip downtown. You're being evicted, but you're still a free person. You're still free to walk the streets. Don't complicate things by having a criminal charge on top of that by being in property as a trespasser. Because 1 minute after that time that's listed on that form that you're supposed to be there, you're considered trespassing. I know this is a tough message, but for some of you, just make it a point to understand that whatever income that you make for your household, you have to make shelter your priority first. And whoever is living in your household that has an able body or any source of income, make sure that shelter is your priority first when you get paid, no matter what. No matter what. Doesn't matter what bill collectors or anybody else. Look, let the bill collectors call. If you got a roof over your head, you pay that bill first and you worry about everybody. You take care of that rent or that mortgage first. First and foremost, no matter what. Before the car payment, before everybody else. You give that landlord something first, because I'm telling you, it's real out here and they are serious. Because you have somebody that's willing to move into your digs, and there is no joke. Okay? Take care of your roof. And if you have somebody that's in your house that doesn't want to understand the fact that rent comes first and does not want to contribute to that and is able to contribute, then they need to find somewhere else to live. They need to find somewhere else to live if they do not want to contribute to rent in the household, period. They need to go. And that's all that is to it, people. Take your home seriously. With that being said, I'm going to go ahead and let you guys go. Peace to you.